Hey, I want to tell you about a new mini course that I have. It's called the 5 Minute Shift. One of the most frequent questions that I get from people on social media and clients is, how do I stop feeling anxious? How do I stop feeling upset? How do I stop feeling angry at my spouse? How do I stop feeling a certain way and get to something that feels better? This mini course is to answer that question. It's a 30-minute video. You get a cheat sheet and the slides, plus a Q&A and a why this works video. But really all you need is the 30-minute video, the how-to. It's a process I use every single day, multiple times a day. I have clients who use it and have experienced huge changes in their life. And if you practice this method over and over again, I promise you'll be able to shift any emotion in around 90 seconds to about 5 minutes. So if you're somebody who feels like you get stuck in emotions, you stew in emotions, you spiral in them, and you really wish that you could get out of them and it didn't involve scrolling or eating or shopping or any of that, this is for you. It's $29. There's a link in the show notes, and I hope you enjoy it. Welcome back to Calmer Conversations, the podcast where you learn how to help your brain become a calmer place to be so that it's easier to feel exactly how you want to feel in your daily life. Whether that's feeling calm and confident, content, or even joyful, or just like you've done enough of the right things at the end of the day, or all of the above. I'm Cecilia Mandrick. I'm a certified life coach, yoga therapist, and founder of the Calm Brain Academy. If you're ready to shift the patterns of self-sabotage, procrastination, daily overwhelm, people-pleasing, and perfectionism, you're in the right place. Not only is it possible to change the conversation between your brain and your body, when you do, you'll change your life in the process. And you're one step closer just by joining me today. Ready? Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to Calmer Conversations. I'm Cecilia, your host. We're going to dive into checking in with yourself across different areas and why you might want to do this. First, let's have a moment of landing to help you land here, to help me land here, to all kind of get on the same page. Okay. If you're driving, if you're walking, even if you're seated at your desk or you're lying down on your couch, you might give yourself a little wiggle or a shake. You might roll your neck. You might move your fingers or toes. You might even kind of just settle into where you are, even if you're driving, kind of settling back into your seat. And take a few intentional breaths, maybe making a sigh or a sound for the exhale. You might even kind of clench your muscles and kind of tighten things as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, you might relax and let them go. And give yourself permission to be here for this episode. Give yourself permission to be here to get what you need. And trust that you're going to get what you need from this session. Okay, you're here. You might check in with your body. You might check in with your brain. You might, again, give yourself that permission. You might even see if you have an intention for this, like maybe you want to take away or you want to feel a certain way or just something that comes up. You might even trust yourself that whatever your intention is or whatever pops into your brain is going to be helpful for you. And then as you feel ready, coming back to your body, coming back to your location, if you want more time, you might even just pause this and rest wherever you are. And if you are ready to keep coming back, then come back. Okay, I want to share something that we do each month in the Life Lab. Every Monday, we have what I call a lesson. It's sort of like a workshop or like a mini workshop, and we focus in on some topic. Usually there's an overarching theme that we're going through. And when we focus in on that topic, the people who are in the Life Lab get to ask questions. We get to dive deeper. But something we do every single month is we do a look back. And I learned about look backs back when I worked in the oil industry. And when we would do something like we'd work on a project or we drill a well or we completed a well or we had a development plan, we would look back. And so on big and small things, we'd look back and we say, okay, what went well? What didn't go well? What would we do differently next time? This is an extremely valuable skill. It can be really scary to do it. But these check-ins, if we do them with ourselves pretty regularly, not only do we start to get a sensation of what's important to us and what we really want, but we also get a way to kind of look at and start to measure our success. Because sometimes we have these goals like, I want to feel better in life. And they're not super measurable, although we can start to measure them or we can start to see their impacts in our life when we start to actually look at them. So we do these look backs, and I can't guide you through an entire one here, or I could, I guess. It would just be a very long episode. I don't know if it would be the most interesting episode to listen to, but I just wanted to give you kind of why we do look backs, and what you might actually gain from doing them. Okay, and so I'm also going to combine, so I'm going to guide you through some of the questions that we use in the look back and the look forward, because that's the other part, right? Not only are we looking forward or looking back at what we just did, but we're looking forward to what are we doing. So I'm recording this, it's at the very beginning of May. So earlier this week, we all got together, we looked back at April, and we kind of looked at how that went and how we want to remember April. And then we thought about May. And then we also did a check-in with some of these core pillars of health and well-being that I think are key. And we'll see. I kind of like these shorter episodes. Personally, I really like listening to shorter episodes. So this is a little bit self-serving, but we'll go through the look back and I'll see if I have time. Otherwise, I'll break it into a separate episode, those 12 pillars. And given my propensity to talk, I would imagine that we're probably going to kind of create another episode on the pillars of health. Okay, so a look back and a look forward. Your past does not determine how your future is going to go. So we're not looking back from that reason, but we're looking back to see, how do we actually show up? Is there something that I want to take from this month, carrying forward into the future? And this is one of the most important parts, we're looking back so we can tell an intentional story about what just happened. I'm going to say that again because it's so important. We're looking back so we can tell an intentional story about what just happened. And you can do this on kind of like a micro level, like the last 15 minutes, what story do I want to tell about it? Like, I screamed at my kid and I totally lost it. And I could tell myself the story, I'm a bad parent. I just ruined my relationship with my kid. I'm a horrible person. We're never going to be able to change this. Or I could tell the story of, I yelled. People sometimes yell. When I'm out of regulation and I feel triggered, sometimes I move into the space of yelling. I know that I yelled, and I also know that I am resilient and my kid is resilient, and together we can repair. And I've heard that repairing with a kid is one of the most important things. And so it's not that maybe I even wish that I didn't yell, but I know that things are going to be okay, even though I did. And even you can check in with both of those stories, right? And see which one maybe you want to carry forward, right? One is like, you stay in a nervous system state of either fight or flight, or even like freeze response, right? Going into like, oh, I've like ruined it all. It's all over. There's nothing I can do to fix it. Versus saying, when I look at this situation, it's not my favorite. I'm not maybe 100% proud of how I showed up, but I'm proud of myself for recognizing, and I'm proud of myself for how I'm going to engage now, which brings you back into a different nervous system space, which brings your brain back into a different place. And the story you tell about something are the neural pathways that your brain creates. And those are the stories that reappear later in your life. Okay, so this looking back is just super powerful. So you can do it on that micro scale, right? The last 15 minutes. You can do it over the course of a day, which is the principle behind my wins course, right? Which is you look back on your day and you ask, what are my wins? And then you look forward within that course as well. It's like, what do I want my wins to be tomorrow? But you can look back over like a month, or you can look back over a year, you can look back over a decade, right? But the more accustomed you get to looking back, and looking back with kindness and compassion and even some objectiveness, and intentionally telling a story, the more that positively impacts the beliefs you have about yourself, the beliefs you have about the world around you, and your capacity to move forward in a different way. So that probably sums up almost everything you need to know, actually. But I'm just going to give you some of the questions that I really love, that I ask myself, and that people ask. And if this is something you're really interested in, I would check out either the WINS journal, which you can buy and use by yourself, or you can get the course. Obviously, we do this in the Life Lab, so you can join the Life Lab too. But if you want something that's like a little bit more bite-sized or smaller, you can grab that. And people report back the most amazing wins from being in the WINS course, from learning how to use this in their brain. So it's the art and the practice of intentionally looking back so that you can use your past experience for your future self. Right. So obviously we ask, like, well, not obviously, I guess, but what was my intention for last month? Did I have an intention for last month? And this could be something like I intended to start working out, or I intended to be more present with my kids, or I had an intention of saving a certain amount of money or something like that, right? Asking, did I have an actual intention for the month? And if I did have an actual intention for the month, how did that intention serve me and show up in my life? So, really asking, if I had the intention for perhaps saving a certain amount of money, I might have that intention might have served me in not just clicking purchase every time, buy now, every time I went on Amazon, right? Maybe it helped me like actually think about what I was buying with a little bit more intentionality. Or it helped me really appreciate the money I did have and I had saved when we had like a roof leak or something like that, right? So, how did this intention serve me? And this is really helping, like noticing how you support yourself. The next one, and this is the one that I kind of just went into with that story around yelling at your kid, but it's the story of how do I intentionally want to tell the story of last month? So given everything that happened, and what you might do is you might write down all the kind of like facts of the month. And then you might ask yourself, how do I want to remember this month? What do I want to take away from it? What's the story I want to tell? Because your brain has an unintentional story that it will go to. And our brain's unintentional story sounds really similar month to month. Like, "Ugh, I didn't get enough done. I should have done more. I failed in X, Y, and Z area." And so switching that around and saying, like, how do I want to tell this story given these facts is really powerful. That's the look back part. And we go into more questions, but that's the look back. And I'll give you one more. What am I carrying forward and what am I ready to leave behind? And that could be like thoughts. It could be a relationship. It could be like, I don't know, your relationship with Doritos. It could be like anything. Like, what am I leaving behind in this month? What do I want to take forward? And then in the looking forward, I think one of the most important things is, and this is crucial, is especially if you have like a perfectionist or like I want to do everything kind of brain, is looking at the facts for your month. So what's actually happening this month? Okay, well, I'm moving, or like my kids are switching out of school into summer vacation mode, or like I have 3 weekends away with different events, or I have a lot of extra meetings this month because something big is happening at work. Looking at the facts, not so that you can give yourself excuses, but so that you're taking them into account, right? So if, for instance, you're going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, but your intention is to start working out 3 days a week at your local gym, that might not actually work, right? Because where you're going might not have a gym, or maybe you don't want to do it on vacation. And then you kind of like quote unquote fail because of circumstances. So ask yourself some facts. And then given the facts, asking yourself, what is my intention for this month? What do I have a goal for this month? Do I have a feeling that I want to embody? When I think about the end of the month and I look back, what makes it a success? So what is my success criteria? And since I just said, what is my success criteria, which sounds incredibly corporate, I'm going to ask my next corporate question is, how do I want to operationalize it? Which means, what is the little thing that I want to do to make this happen in my life? And so, for instance, if your intention is to start to be, I use this example a lot, but I think that I don't know, it's an easy one that most people can understand. If the intention is, I want to start to be someone who moves my body each day, or I want to start working out, then how you operationalize it, or how you kind of break it down into something more bite-sized, is you say, I'm going to take a 5-minute walk 3 days a week, or I'm going to stretch for 2 minutes every morning before I take my shower. So kind of taking it and putting it into practice. If you have a feeling like a feeling that you want to embody, so I want to feel more free, you might have a question. You might ask yourself during the day, or maybe at lunch, or maybe in the morning when you wake up, is how can I feel free today? What beliefs or activities might support me in feeling free today? Or how am I going to prioritize rest today? And so really with this intentionality and with this desire, you will start to bring these things more into your life. Obviously, it's an hour-long session when we have it in the Life Lab. So it's something that we do over and over again. And the really neat thing is, if you do it every month for a year, you start to really see how you've grown and changed, and how you've started to not just talk about wanting something, but you've actually put it into practice in your life. And I think that's one of the things that can frustrate us over and over again as people, is if we don't, we can want something. I really want to exercise. But if we never take the time to ask the question, how do I want to do this? And what thoughts are getting in the way? And what thoughts can support me? Then sometimes we never end up doing it. And it becomes this thing that can be like our low level goal for like months or years or whatever. Like, I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn Spanish. And it's like, okay, well, if that is actually your intention this month, how do you want to start to move forward on it? And then the neat thing is once you do that, you'll start to see all your thoughts come up and all the other junk comes out of your brain. That's for coaching, not for here. These are questions that you can start to use in your life, again, on a very short time scale or a longer time scale. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. I love this practice. It's really changed my own life. And like I said, I have a whole course around it, the WINS course, and a planner journal, a guided journal that you can also buy. So we'll link to those in the show notes so that you can grab them if you want to. The WINS course is a go at your own pace type course. And so you can really move into it in a really powerful way and make big changes in your life with not a huge amount of effort. And this works with your brain and your nervous system. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. We'll get into those 12 pillars in the next episode. It was lovely to see you. I love you all so much. You're doing amazing things. Bye. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Calmer Conversations. Take what you learned today and use it in your life. Even if it feels a little awkward or clumsy at first, remember these are practices and that real change comes from implementation. Then send me a message over on Instagram or TikTok and let me know what worked or didn't work. If you want to dig deeper into something from today's episode, all of the resources can be found at the link below in the show notes. If you liked this episode, there's a great chance that you'll love working with me. Join my monthly coaching community by visiting me on Instagram or my website, www.ceciliabmandrick.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and I'll see you back here next Thursday.